just a boy. Christmas brought so much joy. Couldn't wait for the presents and laughter. I couldn't sleep late at night, looking for Santa with lights. Those are the memories I still remember. Then I became a man, lost sight of who I am, but right in front of me was the answer. 'Cause on Christmas I feel joy, and I turn back to a boy. The answer is to stay young forever. This is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song, this is not a Christmas, this is not a Christmas song.
Hello, Star Wars fans. You know, there's just 256 days until Christmas 2023. Oh, and my Streamlabs OBS is not working today. So you get to just see my room, the glorious blue wall and everything. There it is. So, hey, a couple of notes right off the top. Many of you know this, but just to make sure, I am leaving Saturday morning to head down to Gatlinburg, Tennessee. We'll be spending a few days down there doing Santa Claus convention. It's called the Santa Family Reunion in Gatlinburg, Tennessee. You can Google it. There are pictures. We do this all the time, every other year, odd number of years. So I'll be going down there this next week. I will be gone during the Mandalorian season finale. Hey, Jason Ward, come join us. The link is in the chat. You have the perma link anyway. So there's Jason. But I'll be down there during the finale. I won't be able to do a live watch party. I'll do something around the finale, but we'll have to see sort of how things work. So there's that. Secondly, May 5th through the 7th is IndianaCon, Indianapolis, Indiana. They're having a Comic Con there. There's going to be some Star Wars folks there signing autographs, some of the usual suspects that are at mini cons. But I'm going to show up, and we have a couple of other folks here in our community that are planning the trip. If you're in the Indianapolis area or you want to go to the IndianaCon, let me know. We'll try to meet in person. So there's that as well. I think that covers the bases on that side. And then, of course, I've got Meg. How you doing, Meg?
I'm good. How are you, Santa?
I'm good. I know we have been having discussion since this episode of The Mandalorian about these spies.
Yes.
And Jason keeps ruining all of our fun. Every time we come up with a theory, he's like, no, you're dumb. You're wrong. I know. The guy's just
yeah, he's always giving us the truth, which we love.
We do, but it's annoying because, we come up with great theories and then he's like, nope, it's wrong. It can't be.
But he does point out that a lot of things are very surface level when it comes to these shows. Sometimes we like to think there's some deep lore to everything, but oftentimes the bad guy is just the Pikes.
Amen. Perfectly said. And we've got Jedi Mike in the back room. Hey, Mike, how you doing today?
Hey, spring break, enjoying the Mandoverse, man.
Well, I have to share something you sent to us just this morning, and
not me, someone else, but I forwarded it. Yeah,
I got it from you, and I shared it with Meg and Jason, and we were talking about it a little bit, and it ties to what Meg just said about sometimes the Pikes are just the Pikes, and that seems to sort of be the case here. There's this article about maybe you're thinking about the spies differently. Like we're all looking at, we know we saw one spy, but we didn't see multiple spies. And I watched Meg's video today. She summed it up pretty well. Like the armorer could be a spy. How is it, she just doesn't happen to go to the Great Forge when everybody's gone there? The one person you'd think would have a great interest in the Great Forge, not so much. And as Meg, we were kind of talking about before, if you go back to the episode when she tells Bo-Katan to take her helmet off, she's talking about going to visit the Great Forge, and she once was there. I'm like, well, guess who else is hanging out at the Great Forge? Maybe she was hanging out with Moff Gideon at the Great Forge when she's recalling the Great Forge. But Jason says, no, you guys are wrong. I just thought it added additional credence to your theory that perhaps she's a little sus.
I mean, everyone was thinking sus. It was like sus fever, and I don't know. I just went against. I'm a contrarian, so as soon as everyone in every chat was like sus, I was like, let's slow down.
There's during the live stream, people were saying she's sus, and I was like, no, I don't see it. But then afterwards, in retrospect and thinking back on it, and talking with Meg and others, it's like she is sus, and there's a lot of people.
Axe Woves. Axe Woves is very sus.
And I was leaning into Axe Woves a little more, right? Like, oh, maybe he's sus, and maybe Moff Gideon's been playing all these against each other on purpose to keep them all at odds against one another.
And a lot of people say, then how come Moff Gideon was surprised about the two faction of Mandos when Eliakim told him? I think there's an answer to that. He didn't expect it. We don't know the last time the armor actually spoke to Gideon. For all he knows, the armor told him that Din's gone and left the tribe because she never expected him to find the mines. So we don't actually know how it's all kind of come together.
And the other big piece of evidence that somebody is a spy is that Gideon tells Bo-Katan, give me back the Darksaber. Well, how does he know that she has it?
Exactly.
I mean, he's got Din. Last he knew, Din had it. And he's got Din.
It's got to be Axe Woves.
It's kind of, you would think it'd have to be one of them. Or both. Maybe he's purposely putting seeds of discontent between these different tribes of Mandalorians to keep them from coming together and being a threat. But then I read this article, and there was a story a couple of weeks ago. Mike kind of pointed me to again, and they were talking about how the story follows the story of the Jews through history, biblical times, all of this into modern day. And some of the things that they've gone through and the parallels between the Mandalorian seasons and what's going on there and the Jewish people as a whole. And then I read this. And this guy says, I'm Jewish, and through the season, I noticed a number of connections between Jewish history and Mandalorian's history. Specifically, in this episode, Din says, all of our history, we were on the verge of extinction. And he mentions that Jon Favreau is a Jewish traditionalist. I don't know anything about that, but okay, I'll take his word for it. It says, I believe the title, The Spies, is actually references to the Old Testament, wherein which the Jews sending spies to ancient Israel so they'll research the land to find out where they can actually live and what are the threats awaiting for them, which is pretty similar to most of the plot of the episode. And it reminds me of the story, right? So the Jews are out in the wilderness for 40 years, and or not quite. They were out there for just a little while, and they send some folks over into the promised land to spy it out. Some of them come back and say,
like, so is Din Moses and then Grogu's Joshua? And Bo-Katan's Miriam. Paz is Aaron.
There you go. I don't think it parallels that much. So, but that's the story they're telling, right? They go over. Some of them say, "Hey, it's great. Come on in." Others say, "No, not so great. Don't come in." And then there's some punishment that happens, and they have to go wander around the desert somewhere. So there's all that happens in the Old Testament, and he's saying it's in that context that come down, the spies. They're landing on Mandalore to see if they can actually migrate. I don't know.
I've got to say that is a very good explanation.
I think so too. And when you say sometimes pikes are just pikes, sometimes that's the straightforward, right? And
it was the tribes and it was the different sects of Mandalorians. And I feel like on that last Will show that we were talking about setting precedent for the Mandalorian, multiple seasons, lots of canon. Like, you know, I don't know. I don't know why we were thinking like this was the beginning of a 7-year or in the middle of a 7-year story, but it was the sect and it was the cave, the fact that they were there isolated.
We've got Jason the wet blanket Ford.
Why am I a wet blanket today?
I don't know. You don't have your normal wet blanket sweater.
Oh yeah, I know. I didn't plan on coming on. I was like watching the show, I was having some coffee. And
then we were dissing you.
Was it coffee or Ko-Fi?
Yeah, I wish it was Ko-Fi. I'd be like making it rain.
I've got my Sith punch. And my Vader was framed.
There you go. Hey, Jason, so what do you think, spies? You think this?
I think the theory that was laid out there seems like a pretty good backstory for Favreau to have based it on, to turn it into a sort of allegory to some extent, loosely. I think that makes sense. That was very well thought out, I thought.
And remember, there was the baptism parallel
yes.
in chapter 17 with the kid Ragnar.
Yep.
So I do think that symbolism, that biblical symbolism, is very much a part of this story. And it also occurred to me when Santa sent what Jedi Mike sent him, that the Mandalorian very much explains everything it does. So this idea that there are spies they didn't show us seems a bit fan theory and less what they were going for.
I mean, the recaps, right? John was literally talking about the art of recaps in Game of Thrones and how they use recaps to help people that don't have to read everything. Like, there was a bunch of good stuff that happened during this celebration.
The Sabersmith reminded me, it was Screen Crush that had that theory in there, and I shared that.
That's what it was. Thanks.
And he
Old
did a
brain
great
cells.
job. Yeah, no kidding. And I saw Ralph Dupree said, I want to see a video of a bunch of Santas. Any chance we get into a peek of the fun? Yes, I will take pictures. I'll take short videos while I'm down at the Santa family reunion.
But they don't do running of the Santas, because that would be awesome if everyone threw their sack over their shoulder and did like running of the Santas.
Don't say sack in front of Meg. It's not good. It never ends up.
She pays me to do that. It's like T-ball.
Right. I know. We do typically, now they're not doing it this year, we typically do have a parade right downtown Gatlinburg. All the Santas by state in territory. We get some in from Canada, North America. We get some in from Europe. We've had the Jerusalem Santa from Israel there, for example. We get some from Germany and France, and so I will get pictures. I'll take short videos and that kind of thing. It'll be great. So I think,
what was that Pennsylvania Dutch thing from The Office that Dwight did, like the Pennsylvania Dutch Santa? Belschnickel, that was it.
Oh yeah.
Are there any Belschnickels?
no.
With their lederhosen on?
If you did that, you would make cash, dude. If you made that like a side thing on your, because Office people,
yeah,
you should do it. You should do it.
Your Etsy, man, will blow up.
No, not me. But we do get some that are dressed there, like in red, white, and blue, like American flag Santa. And we get Texas Santas, and like people wearing different kind of garb. We do get some representation from like Russia with that pale blue suit that's absolutely gorgeous.
She should 3D print you a Clone Wars helmet that is like Santa painted. That would be so dope.
Well, I do have that guy. He's right over there. He's got the Santa outfit on. Well, you can kind of see him. He's right there. See the little
there's so
red
many
dot?
rays. Like there's so many rays. Like
That little red dot is a trooper wearing Santa gear. So there's that. All right. So the spies. I think everybody loved the episode, and I think that this explains it the most to me. That it is them coming to Mandalore to scope out the area. Is it safe? Can we build a community here? Can we build our legacy? Restart? What do they keep saying? Rebuild, right? They need to rebuild all of that. So I think that's happening. But we wanted to ask. Oh, and also, hey, you see Jedi Mike here. Jedi Mike used the link that I posted on Discord and I posted on Patreon. I posted in the YouTube members area. If you are one of our supporters, YouTube members, then you can find the link on the community tab. You can join here just as well. And then Patreon, it's right there. You can find it on Patreon, the link to join the show. And if you hang out in Discord, we have a members channel there, and you can find the link to join us and let us know what you think on both this last episode and the finale. So one of the things that Wet Blanket Ward shared with us yesterday is we were talking about how, I think the armorer, she's sus, and I think she's going to turn on him. She's going to do this terrible thing. And he's like, not so fast, my friends. Don't you remember? Yeah. I shared a leak a long time ago. Yeah, your old doofus's brains aren't picking up on it. Let me tell you again. I mean, that's
here's the thing, like, there could be regret. And I'll tell you why there's regret. I think the armorer is sus. Even if by the end she's going to join their whole ceremony. Because do you guys remember in the most recent episode, when Bo starts telling the story about negotiating with the ISB?
Yeah.
The way Koska looks at her is like, oh, crap. Like, I feel like Ex-Woves, the armorer, I feel like they've all had a stake in taking Bo-Katan down. And now they're realizing maybe that was not a good idea. So all of the plans the armorer or Ex-Woves or both have had separately to take down Bo, they're now regretting.
Well, I'll put it that I think she could still be a double agent, and to keep your identity as a double agent secure, you still need to fulfill the role of the agent, right? So if you're going to be the armorer, you're the one who bequeaths these things, you still have to maintain that, or you're going to give up your identity. So the role that she has in the finale with Bo, and just a heads up for anybody that may be listening and doesn't know, when you see Jason Ward on here, it should be a big clue that there might be spoilers ahead. And when we get to talking about things, a lot of times we drop spoilers, not necessarily intentionally, but it just like comes out. So spoiler warning for the finale. If you don't want to know, we appreciate you guys being in here. And if you guys would like to leave a like, a share, a comment, all that really helps the channel. Let folks know what we're doing here. That's fantastic. But we're going to go into spoiler territory with the finale. And we know that part of the finale involves Bo-Katan coming in on the Mythosaur, winning the day, and then the armorer anoints her the new ruler of Mandalore. Is that more or less it, Jason?
That's my understanding of it. Yeah, is that there's like a big ceremony, and that we'll go that way. And I heard from what's his name? Anyways, yeah, supposedly I saved it to read on my show for later, and it was Matt Haywood, from Star Wars Time. He wrote me, by the way, and he said, so after seeing the armorer randomly having her jetpack on in episode 7, I reached back out to my contact who gave me the leak and realized I merged 2 of the reveals into one. So I messed up the leak. If you care to know the details, he was confirming the celebration that you reported on eons ago, and added that Ragnar would get his armor set as well. So if you remember, Star Wars Time had a thing about her rocket pack being a thing. He's like, nah, that was me. She has one. He was just telling me. And then it's Ragnar. So anyways, there's going to be like that ceremony where people are kind of getting promoted, so to speak, or getting their like stuff. So Ragnar will be a part of that, and then Bo-Katan is from what I understand, like the main anointing, whatever. But I have a problem with, the thing about it is the armorer can do this and still be a spy. Right. The armorer can do this, and I mean all of that, and just not get exposed. That's possible. But I think that you run into a bigger problem in the narrative that they set up if that's the case, because she's the she has the Mando Bible in her head. They don't read books that we know of. She has it all in here. So unless she's taught everybody everything that everybody needs to know, she's the one who they all look towards, like, what's the rule? And so if she's they actually have so it could work two ways, though. It could be a way of getting rid of the old bad culture that's clearly broken, because the old ways don't work. I don't know why they keep looking to her anyway. It clearly is for thousands of years. Well, he says that, but then we see them in the Clone Wars, and they have this vibrant civilization that's clearly thriving. So whatever. But it's like there's just something about it that just doesn't sit well. If she is a spy, I feel like the way that the narrative is going about it is deceitful.
But most of the narrative is very, very confused. The writing on the show is very, very ambiguous for the most part. And that's my problem. Like, if they want to get a point across, they do it very badly. And I just want to address, I've seen people say that it's the 3 Mandalorians, like Skinny Pete and the other 2. I categorically cannot see it being them. No. Because you could say, oh, well, they were on the surface. Surely they knew about the Imperial base. I don't think so. They would have made that clear in the way that the episode was written. They needed food. They recognized Bo-Katan, which I guess you could say is a bit suspicious. I can't see it being them.
Why didn't Axe Woves arrest Gideon in that episode? Why was he removed from that episode when they get him? Why was he not there when he was with the 2 ladies before? I think it's because he's going to be the one who's the turncoat.
I'm going to swap out mics for a moment. We're going to bring in
you guys want
Mike Porter, and let Mike Porter come in. Hey there. And
am I on camera?
Oh, you are Mike Porter.
Oh my gosh. I'm in the car. I'm drinking Wendy soda, or for all the toxic fans, it's Haterade. Because I don't have any popcorn to pop in my mouth with all the toxic fans. Oh, you don't like Star Wars, huh? I'm going to watch you.
I love it, Mike. I love it. So what do you think about our theories on spies? We've been talking about the spies. What do you think?
Well, as we talk, Santa, I'm kind of a surface guy. I was looking back at my notes thinking of, I guess, last time, it had to have been like Mandalorian season 2. I was talking about Moff Gideon and Thrawn, and that it wouldn't work out. And that is the only thing that works with what Meg says, because after that, it looked like something a 5-year-old would write. So I'm not a great speculator. I'm the kind of guy that looks at the, just the surface. I let you guys do all that. I do all the silly stuff. But what I think is Jason is hurting my heart, because it just makes so much sense that it is the armor, but a misdirect. But she's been sus in the beginning. We don't know when she rolls her eyes. She's got that dang helmet on. They all have that dang helmet on. We don't know what they're doing.
True. It's hard to read their expression when you can't see their expression. I know.
Mike needs a podcast. You need a podcast, Mike. Yeah. I could listen to your thoughts on this all day.
I like that Mike says I'm a surface guy when I was referring back to my notes. It's like, no, Mike, Surface guys don't take notes, Mike.
I have to put notes down for my dad jokes, or I'm going to forget them.
I thought the same thing. He's like, I'm a surface level guy. When I went to my notes from 2 years ago, I'm like,
Yeah,
wait a
my
second,
files.
Mike Porter.
On the 5th book, I wrote about analyzing the Mandalorian.
And I remember back on June 17th, Meg said this, and she was right, and Jason, you were categorically wrong.
Wait a minute. Can I just stop for just a minute? And I know this has happened before, but I'm here with some of the biggest YouTubers. This crazy zany soon to be 60 years old, with some of the best YouTubers in the business. So I just
Thanks, Mike.
Wow,
Well,
I just want to take
You're
this
the
time
best.
that I'm sharing the screen. I'm on the Mount Rushmore, and they're like, no, let's take him off and let's put another guy on there.
we're all just standing in the
Y'all would be
shadow
the
of Meg's
three.
brilliance.
You would be the three.
Yeah.
Well, Jedi Mike would be, definitely up there too, because Jedi
It's
Mike
great.
is great for the community.
Yeah. Well,
Are me and Mike?
Star Wars.
Do me and Mike still have the same point tally? Did we stay neck and neck on the?
you guys are right there
Oh.
together on the
probably
leaderboard. We've got the leaderboard.
We were tied last week. We were both 66. I was like, order 66, yeah.
So
But now I don't know.
on the cumulative total for the season,
Mhm.
Mike Porter has 94, and Jason has 88.
Mike's the champion. You
Man.
pulled out ahead, Mike.
I'm-
See?
I'm just
Don't-
guessing.
don't listen
you
to me.
know how I did how I turned my season around in Bad Batch? I said no to everything except for Techie saying Techie, and it changed my whole season. Here, it's kind of hit and miss. What I'm doing now, instead of filling it out, I'm coming and watching you guys, and you guys are explaining to me, what's going to happen. But just to get kind of serious, I can't get really serious. I am so glad that this last episode, did what it did. I was entertained by Jack Black. I want a Jack Black series, but I know this is very troublesome to people, and that last episode bothered them. What really got me on that episode, and I know she got the dark saber because of the technicality. I get that argument. But when she finally lit the dark saber, lifted up to the sky, you could hear the music, and then it faded to black. That was Star Wars to me. To me, that was epic. So, I understand if that episode didn't hit everybody, but I'm really glad that I really hope that the last 2 episodes nail it as much as what's going in Picard season 3 right now.
Real quick, I got to bring in Nerd Mafia because he's sitting behind Mike Porter in the Wendy's drive-thru. He's like, Mike, could you get out of the way already? Could you?
It is Wendy's. He's at Wendy's.
He is at Wendy's.
Taco Bell's right next door. That's where I went. So.
I'm a Taco Bell man myself.
This is a traffic jam stream.
Yeah,
Damn right.
Exactly. Mike, thanks for stopping in.
Thank you.
I appreciate
See you,
spending
dude.
time with you. We'll catch you
Later,
next
Mike.
time.
Bye.
Hey, we got you while you're at the drive-through, Nerd Mafia. How are you doing on this whole spy thing? What do you think?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm hearing you guys talk about it. I like that theory though, that it's connected more biblically, and a lot of these shows from the Bad Batch to this have had dual meanings with the titles. So I think that kind of fits the trend perfectly. You have actual spies, and then you have reconnaissance spies, if you will, like going to check out Mandalorian. I can't talk today. Mandalore. But screw all that. What I really wanted to talk about was my theory was our theory was almost let's say 95% accurate that there was going to be Imperial Mandalorians, because those were all even though those weren't really Mandalorians, they were pretty much everything but being a Mandalorian. That was amazing that actually came to fruition. So I'm giving myself a pat on the back. I'll give one to Santa one day too. But I was really happy about that.
Well, Jason had it right again. The proto armor adepts, they are wearing Beskar, and they are on Mandalore. So the Imperial Mandalorians, or the Imperial, what are they called? There's a word for it.
Remnants?
Were they super commandos?
Super Commandos. That's it.
Okay.
Yeah, the Super Commandos. That's what they sort of are. Whether they are not like genetically or by creed or anything else, Mandalorian is sort of off the point. They are wearing Beskar. They are, I believe, the ones that and they didn't address it directly. I think that these guys are the ones that got Moff Gideon out of his ship.
I took it a step further too and said they're going to have a base on Mandalore. And that's who they're taking it back from. Boom, that happened. I was really happy.
Excellent,
But
excellent. And I hear that you found a Magic Maker's truffle pig.
what?
I thought it was like Watts Tambor from the Techno Union.
I thought it was the Seinfeld theme song.
No, you've got it, and it's got to be an iPod kind of thing or an iPhone kind of thing. That when you're
It's
talking,
weird noise.
you
It's
get
adding,
this.
it's adding like bass notes to like every
How about now?
consonant
I
you
turned
hit.
my fan off in my car. Are we good now?
No,
No,
it's still
it's-
going.
yeah,
It sounds like Star Wars though. It's like it's still on. You're still like on theme.
It's great.
I can't hear it, obviously. Whatever.
You'll hear it on the replay. You hear it on the replay. So the finale's coming up. One of the questions we want to ask is, what are your expectations for the finale? I assume you're aware of Jason's leaks, right?
Here and there. I try not to ruin it too much for myself, but
Yeah.
Sorry.
So there's a question about perhaps getting some cameos. Will we get to see like a post-credit scene with Thrawn? Will we get there was one rumor that I heard, not from Jason Ward. I heard a rumor that we were going to see Luke Skywalker and Ahsoka Tano come into
I've
the
heard
final
that theory
battle.
too.
Yeah.
I've been told that as well.
Yeah.
Wait, is it a theory or is it a rumor?
It's a rumor.
It's a rumor.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a rumor that's out there. It's completely unsubstantiated, but people started spreading it. And so,
Yep. I'm a little torn on how this whole rift is all going to play out between like the Imperial remnants too. Like, I don't think having a battle between Gideon and Thrawn's forces makes sense in the long run. And it looks like the captain there should be going to Thrawn. I have my own headspace right now thinking that like Thrawn's not really trying to come back. He's trying to bring people to him and he wants to do his thing out in the beyond. That's where I'm at kind of right now. I don't think he wants anything to do with the Empire, to be honest with you. And I even think I have theories kind of going beyond that Balin and Shin aren't from like the main galaxy. I think they're from where Thrawn is and have their own take on the Dark Jedi really or whatever they're working with. And that's, I mean, I'm going just like full spoiler bill right here. Good thing you got that up. But like Kanan's lightsaber coming into play makes a lot of sense with that too. So I don't know. I kind of just vomited a whole lot right there. You guys, you know what you think about that?
that's good. That's good.
My theory is that Gideon's going to get his butt kicked off of Mandalore, and he's going to kind of have to go back to the Shadow Council with his tail between his legs as Thrawn returns, and that's going to put him in his place for the time being. I kind of could see that it going there because I mean, if Daddy comes home and you just failed, oh, you're going to be like, you know what I mean, and doing what he says for a little bit. But I do think he's gonna jump out of the shadows and go and stab him in the back. Somehow.
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple different ways you could play this, right? So if you're playing to keep Thrawn and Gideon like still relevant in the long term, you maybe even have him win this battle. Maybe not kill everybody, but that keeps Din like in jail, so to say, like for a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
Or you just kill Gideon and we move on to Thrawn.
Let me bring up one other.
I don't
Go
think
ahead.
there's going to be any Thrawn in the finale.
Yeah.
And you know why I'm gonna say this, and it might not sound great at first, but I think there's a 99.999% chance Luke Skywalker is in this finale because they know how well the finale of season 2 did when he showed up. And it'd be a really cool way to tie him back into the story, to have Grogu reach out in the Force to Luke to be like, hey, we need some help.
That pretty much always makes me happy to hear. So
I'm not convinced, but I could see an argument for bringing them in because there's a big battle going on, and they've been building friends along the way. And how many friends would respond to the call, right? So I could see that happening. And I wanted to throw this out because I was doing a rewatch last night with my wife, and I caught the second time around, and I heard it the first time, but it didn't sink in. And thinking about all these conspiracies and whatnot, Gideon talks about he's got Mando captured and all this, and he wants Darksaber back. He says there have been different eras, right? There's the time of the cloners and the Jedi, and even the Mandalorians. And I'm going to bring all three of these by combining all of them together.
He's a globalist.
I'm going to make the. I'm going to become the biggest of the biggest, right? So I caught before that he has his own cloning program going on. They even accused him of it, right? Brindle Hux said, "Hey, you've been doing your own cloning business on Navarro," and that's when Gideon says, "Pay no attention to what I'm doing. You're the cloner here, not me. Leave me alone." But he did, right? He did have a cloning thing going on Navarro, and they were specifically looking into the whole M count thing. So cloners, Jedi, and Mandalorian looks like he's trying to come up with a way to get force sensitivity, either for himself or his clones, both. What do you think?
I think I think I said that as well in my episode breakdown, the force sensitivity thing. And I think since season 2, we've been expecting that because Giancarlo Esposito said, visually, Moff Gideon at least admired Darth Vader. He kind of has this like complex where he needs to be the guy in charge, which will make him not like the idea of submitting to Thrawn. And it's what Jason said, like Thrawn sees him as pathetic. He doesn't see him as anything, but Gideon is like Thrawn in the sense of he wants to collect the best of everything. But with Gideon's case, the cloning involves wanting to be force sensitive. And I don't know if he successfully got Grogu's blood. I don't know how he's going to get that. Probably Din Djarin.
Oh, no, I don't think Din Djarin's force sensitive. I know some people have been saying that. I don't think that's in the cards. But Nerd Mafia, before I let you go, anything else that is like in the forefront of your contemplation?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm looking at it like thinking like, obviously we're on track to like fold into the sequels that some people like. So to get there, Gideon has to get out of the way. Thrawn has to at least go a different direction. So I don't know. I part of me thinks Gideon like this is his last episode. To be honest with you.
Oh, it's the death of Gideon. He might actually
that's the
die.
only way you get Hux in charge or something along those lines.
What's the Nerd Mafia Taco Bell order?
Oh, we go with the 3 regular tacos, fire sauce, and Mountain Dew to drink. And then Chewbacca usually kicks in right around this point in time.
Oh, very good, very good. It's funny you bring that up, Nerd Mafia, because just before the stream, Jason and Meg and myself, we had this chat going on about how we get from here to the sequels, and what's going on with Snoke. What's going on with some of these, and how are these stories going to come together? Are they interwoven? Are they sequential? Is it how's it happening? And again, wet blanket over there, right? He was kind of ruining Meg's fun. But
sorry.
Well, I think Nerd Mafia has a very good point to say that Gideon needs to get out of the way for that to happen. Because the Shadow Council before the Battle of Jakku was something very different. Now they're reorganized, but they still have their own agenda. and they're all fighting for different causes. And the cause that makes the First Order, that leads to the First Order, is the one that wants to bring Palpatine back, and that is Hux. So that's the faction that's going to break through. And as you say, this could be the last Gideon episode.
Very good.
Yeah.
Very good. I like it. I like it. And for those of you that don't know, Nerd Mafia, he wrangles me every series to come on once we're all done and we kind of do a wrap up. Since I'm going to be down in Gatlinburg next week, we got to work out the details. But watch for a show over on Nerd Mafia's channel. We normally go Sheev the Wise on over there and myself, and we have a lot of fun. So make sure you're following him, and you can find him on all the things.
And don't miss the intro.
Don't miss the intro. He does these custom intros that are just absolutely good. So thank you so much. I appreciate taking time to join us, and we'll catch you next time.
All right,
Dude.
take it easy, guys.
All right, take care.
Bye, guy.
All right. All right. We still have Jedi Mike with us, but it kind of, it makes it easier if we keep the crowd.
Santa,
Limited.
I've got a theory for you.
Go ahead.
So imagine, because people have been bringing up that Rick Fami, you are teased. The last episode of Mando has Book of Boba Fett payoffs. Could you imagine if Boba, Fennec, and the bike gang all show up?
Well, my joke is that Boba's going to ride in on the Rancor, right? And then he puts the necklace over Bo-Katan and says, you are the survivor, and he snuffs out Gideon's torch.
So we get Boba on a Rancor, Bo on a
On the Mythosaur. Yeah, that's the joke in the chat.
Yeah.
Everyone's sus, and Boba's going to show up at the end.
Do you think it gives credence to when Boba said, "I've ridden beasts 10 times this size"? And then I can't make that joke on a Santa stream. But
I was worried.
Demonetized? We can do it.
I was worried. Omi wanted to homie. Exactly. But who's riding the blurg? We need blurgs in there somewhere. I need more blurgs.
It's not going to be quite Endgame, where you've got one Mandalorian group on blurgs coming in, and the other one's on the skiff, and then the jetpacks. It's not going to be like Endgame. It's probably going to be a smaller battle, right? That's what we've realized now. It's going to be a smaller battle. She'll probably be on the Mythosaur, and that's about it. Because if we had Boba on the Rancor and her on the Mythosaur, you would imagine it being bigger, and it hasn't been that kind of season.
Well, something that has occurred to me as I was watching the last episode is that they've done a lot about the Mandalorian fleet and that being a thing. So
what's happening in space?
So yeah, I mean, like I only heard about a ground battle on that frozen lake kind of territory, which was what they were calling it. I don't know. Is that like a glassed over lake, or is it ice? What is that? Or is it just the way the ground is now? I don't know what they're on the surface.
Back to the spy thing. We haven't the threads that we do have. We've got what's her name that worked for Moff Gideon. Like it's obviously a spy, right? Axe is more like obviously a spy. But back to the other ones that we know, that officer is like a spy, and I think they're telling us that we got to look for Blue Squadron and what's going on and who's going to save the Mandos in space. That's where I thought Ahsoka and Luke might show up, is in space.
Well, and I was going to suggest that if Boba does show up, based off of what I have heard, he might show up in the Slave One and fight in the space battle. I mean, I'm just saying.
Shady's here
because nice.
I think there's no way Luke doesn't show up. They know the reaction to Chapter 16. They need it to be bigger and better, and I can't see.
Well, that would be Lucasfilm making sense. If I have to be cynical,
I think you're right. If they had any sense, they would bring Ahsoka or Luke into it, or both.
Well, you would kind of mirror the call out to what we seriously have in this chapter was they're at the darkest hour, right? So this is where the story is taking this darkest hour. The hero's been captured. The good guys have lost. You've had a sacrificial death to save the lives of a few, and now the good guys the bad guys seem to have won the day. Everybody, it's on the cusp of absolute annihilation defeat. That's a repeating motif throughout Star Wars as well. That's where we are. We've got to have the turning point, which obviously, to me, based on Jason's information, is that it'll be Bo coming in on that mythosaur. But are they going to get the word out to the galaxy in like Rise of Skywalker fashion?
Well, in this narrative, if they did that, you know who it would be? In the narrative, only the narrative that we have established this season, would be battle droids from Lizzo and Jack Black. That's what it would be.
You could
Jason,
definitely
you know when Rob was saying that when you make a joke, it usually ends up being true.
Mm-hmm.
I think you've just cursed my brain into making that make sense.
Honestly, if it happened, it would make it more worth it to me that episode happened.
Well, when you talk about a payoff from Book of Boba Fett, would it include Boba Fett? Would it include any of the folks that they've run across in this season?
See, it's more like, will Grief Karga show up at the end because like he's part of the season? Like, I don't think we're going to get a whole bunch of people at the end. But in space, someone did theorize that if the New Republic comes to save them, maybe they're going to screw up because the New Republic doesn't have a good name for themselves. Maybe that's something that's going to give us something with Mon Mothma and the new season and the different Thrawn stuff and Chiss space and stuff.
So that's another thing. We've not seen Mon Mothma. R5 could get the X-Wing pilots involved. We could get Carson Teva, and we could get then.
I think we got to see Blue Squadron.
Yeah.
And to me, Family Yua.
And I know Carson Teva must be in this.
Do you have any tea about how long he was in the season? Oh,
I have 2 bits of tea I've not actually said yet publicly. I don't think we ever get answers about the armorer because Emily Swallow still doesn't know who her character is. And secondly, Carson Teva was directed by Rick Famuyiwa in this season. And if I'm not mistaken, the episode he was in was not a Rick episode.
But, well, two things. Famuyiwa is probably talking about the mythosaur because that's what was the concept was introduced in the Book of Boba Fett, which plays into there. There's the payoff. Right there, we could connect the dots from Book of Boba Fett to the season finale. Then the other thing is I watched them direct these episodes before, and like I've seen the main director, which like Jon Favreau, directing all over season 1, all over it. In every episode that we saw, he directed on it. He's not the director though. So Famuyiwa could potentially have directed moments with Carson that were in the episodes we've already seen. So that's a possibility that needs to be considered. But if it didn't go that way, then that is a good connection that would lead to him being in the finale.
I will also say that I saw Sheev point something that on Disney Plus, the armorer is on the thumbnail for next week's episode. I don't know what that means. That could be people that want to lean into the spy theory or not.
Yeah.
Wait, yeah. How do we know this?
I know. I'm like, wait, how do they have a thumbnail for next week's episode?
I swear that's what Sheev dropped in Discord or something.
I believe him. I absolutely believe him.
Yeah, on his Twitter. Sheev dropped it on his Twitter, I believe.
I'm going to go check it out.
I'm halfway there. I'm clicking on season 3. Fast forward. No, that was for chapter 7.
Yeah, that was for chapter 7.
That's the last episode. They have her on there. They're not for the next episode.
Well, maybe he's theorizing that's important.
Yeah, that she's a spy because it's called The Spies.
And
I'm telling you guys, it's the armorer.
And that they're trying to tee us up with that. But
yeah, poke all the holes you want. It seems to be with Disney Star Wars. If they've got an idea, they're going to make it obvious. Yeah. And for me, if you go back and rewatch some of the other season 3 episodes, the betrayal kind of seems logical now in retrospect. And what Santa said about the Forge, for me, is like the biggest thing. Like when she tells Bo to take off her helmet, I think she feels threatened as a leader and she wants to sabotage.
That was definitely a weird pivot. You're like, man, she's all into this, dogma. And then she switched fast.
Well, I don't know. They tend to not be too deep on these things. And they said specifically why she took her helmet off, because she's walked in both worlds. she needs to go get these other folks to bring them in. So, I mean, she said it directly why she wanted to do that. And at least 2 times now, she's come up to support Bo in Bo's new leadership role. So, without reading too deep into it, but I am stuck on she went and visited the Forge once before, and what Jason was saying. Jason, I don't know if we let you finish your thought on it. She could be still a double agent. You need to keep your identity in both worlds in order to maintain that double agent. So it doesn't mean that she isn't, because she's doing this. She's actually leaning into it more so that she's not discovered as being a double agent. So she's standing behind Bo. She's doing these things while secretly sending information back to Moff Gideon.
So how do you answer the whole thing of Gideon not knowing that these 2 tribes were involved on Navarro?
Yeah, good point.
And Axe Woves wasn't a part of that stuff, right?
Yeah, Axe is another one.
I think if there is somebody who is a turncoat, I think it's just personally, I'm like it's Axe and a friend.
I also, if you don't mind, Santa, Seth brings up a really good point. Isn't Cobb Vanth rumored? It was Chris Breezy who said he's heard that in the last episode, Cobb Vanth becomes the marshal of Navarro.
Chris Breezy heard that he was in it from somebody from a person in the industry that he's in the season, and then he speculates that that's what it is. So
okay,
yeah, so it's kind of rocky.
And Bespin doesn't have any tea.
I think Finn Rao was speculation, fan math. To be fair, right?
No, I know. We heard Finn Rao is in the season.
That's exciting.
Or what's his name? Wait,
Finn Rao.
What? Yeah. Finn Rao's the good guy from Rebels, right? Yeah, that guy. Yeah, McKidd. I've heard McKidd is in the season. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's wrong or if he's showing up next episode. There's only one more episode left for that to pan out. But I heard Kevin McKidd is in it, and I heard Kevin McKidd is in it from somebody, and from two people actually who have told me things that have panned out across the board so far. So
what about Mon Mothma?
Same.
Mm-hmm. I can definitely see Mon Mothma being in the post-credit scene.
Post-credit or in the actual episode? Like, I
well, do you think R5 is going to be the one who calls for help, and that's how we see her?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking, okay,
that makes most sense, Rod.
Now I go back to this comment from before, and I think this could be the big thing, right? Where was it? I'm gonna scroll back up here in the chat. I highlighted it when it came up. Here it is. Sam the Sham, right? R5 gets message back. We could see the ghost come in the finale. See the ghost with Zeb and Sabine and Hera and the Ghost crew as part of the final battle, along with the Blue Squadron and Luke and Ahsoka. If you were to do like I said before, a big Rise of Skywalker, like everybody comes to save the day situation, that could be huge. It'd be a huge finale. I don't want to oversell it, and I don't want to think too much. I would more expect, like I got burned on this before, and Rob won't ever let me live it down, right? He continues to get me on it.
Rob is holding on to resentments? What are you talking about?
He gets me on the whole Battle of Five Armies coming in at the end of Boba Fett.
I should also say too that the sources who told me about Mon Mothma, and she is in Ahsoka, and we saw her in Ahsoka, told me she was in Mando as well. Like they're like, yeah, she's doing all of this stuff. So I do expect to see Mon Mothma. I would probably right now I feel like Mon Mothma is more likely than McKidd to show up. I think the McKidd one might not pan out because there's not that much time left for it. But maybe more Mandos show up. Maybe it's not a situation where R5 calls the Republican for help. Maybe it's more Mandos show up who have heard what's going on, and maybe make kids with them, and then maybe they intervene in the final battle and turn the tide, and the Mandos do it on their own, which would ultimately be the best like narrative way of handling it, because then atonement for Mandalore is achieved through Mandalore itself, not through Daddy Luke or whoever, you know what I mean, like friends.
So is it like Rise of Skywalker, where it's like it's too late,
But-
there's so many of them, it's like, but there's more of us, and then the fanfare plays while everyone shows up.
He's I'm Kevin McKidd. No, maybe.
Hey, we got a $20 Canadian super chat. That's fantastic. Thank you so much for that. Khonshu 66. There are 2 battles, one in the air, one on Mandalore. I think Luke or Ahsoka will appear, as the Praetorian guards will be a lot to handle. Ooh, I love it. Yeah, at this point, I hadn't thought about the Praetorian guards being a lot to handle, and Luke and Ahsoka could dispatch the Praetorian guards. Oh boy, like the Last Jedi, esque.
That would be cool, but Sansa, for me, one of the most enjoyable things about the last episode was the fact that Mecha Grogu did not get too crazy. Like, he started walking around a little bit fast in that room where he was first like putting on the thing, but then it was just chill. I was super happy with that.
Next episode,
and the fanboy tears were just, I know, but I'm just saying,
get crazy.
Well, I was happy with him this episode.
Could you imagine Luke and Ahsoka doing the Rey and Kylo to the Praetorians? That'd be cool.
Santa, I'm obviously tongue-in-cheek about what I'm about to say. This is just a joke, because I know some people take everything a bit too seriously, but like, so in a way, I kind of hope those 3 Mandos, like Skinny Pete, are Gideon's spies, and then Skinny Pete takes off his helmet, and it ends up being Snoke. Just grabs a lightsaber.
I thought you were going to say Gina Carano.
Even better. I mean, Moff Gideon needs an apprentice. She was Special Forces. Like, I would like you to meet my apprentice, Cara Dune. And then Luke's like, this is getting out of hand. Now there are 2 of them.
I absolutely Khonshu. That's fantastic. The super chat is amazing. And then secondly, the theory is my favoritist of all my favorite. I absolutely think this is great. To see Luke and Ahsoka come to help dispatch the Praetorian guards. Now I'm locked onto it. I want it to happen, and it's such a bad way. And when it doesn't, I'm going to be sad. But boy, wouldn't it be great if it does?
Hey, how about tying up story threads in terms of Hux and Dr. Pershing and that angle of cloning? Because I see that. Like, I think they're fine. Here's the Thrawn thread. That way, that's going to be told to you. Here's the sequel thread, the Hux cloning thread. That's eventually going to be told to you. But I wonder if they do give us a little bit of Pershing in this episode finale.
I wonder if that'll be a post credit. Actually, we do have 2.
Does G68 run from the Republic back to Gideon? They find out, then they start going, what was she doing? And then in that investigation, realize something's happened to this Pershing guy. And then they start to go like, he was a doctor. Why would they want this cloner guy? And then they start to put it all together.
I love this guy, Darth Chaco. I've been watching his videos lately. Yeah, he's been doing some shorts, doing good stuff. Big fan of Darth Chaco. Where's Ray Sloan? Is she safe? Yeah. Is she all right? Good question, Darth Chaco. Where is Ray Sloan?
You know what I was thinking, though? Like, imagine, okay, so this is, again, just kind of tongue-in-cheek, but if they really wanted a finale that gets the whole internet talking, just out of the blue, have that mention of Grief Karga where he's like, Cara Dune got hired for Special Forces, and then it turns out that Gina Carano's in the finale as one of those forces, and she's defected to the Empire. That would get the entire internet
like
talking.
Mercenary style, the way Sasha Banks is a mercenary with her Mandos.
Wow. Guys, we've got another $20 super chat. Amazing. You guys are killing me today. Thank you so much for that. It means the world. Everett Merrill. We won't get Luke. We will get Zeb in Blue Squadron. I think that could be huge for Star Wars fans. I mean, absolutely huge. Ahsoka will show up as well. Gideon will get away. Pershing's dead.
I don't know about that. I don't know about any of that.
I do see the quick connection to Zeb, right? R5 getting a message out to Blue Squadron. If he's still hanging out with the boys at the 70s camp, listening to the 70s rock music, they're still hanging out there, then Zeb's there. They could easily get the message, and we could see them show up, which is a nice lead in into Ahsoka. Now, the Sabine part of it, I'm not sure about. But seeing Hera, Chopper, and Zeb, I could see that happening.
Now, you know what's going to happen? Going back to the Grogu contacting Luke thing, Luke will show up. Sure, you can have Blue Squadron, you can have Zeb, you can have Carlson. It'll be like a big battle. And at the end, Luke is going to look at Mando and say, this young one has developed his skills quite a lot. And let's say Ahsoka's there. For all intents and purposes, Ahsoka's part of the battle. And then she says, and I think I know a Jedi who could train him. And that's how it ends. Teasing Ezra Bridger.
Ezra. And I saw, didn't you theorize that just the other day, that Ezra is the perfect Jedi to train? Yeah. Arya asked a very good question. Is Filoni listed as a writer on the last episode? If not, then Ahsoka ain't showing up. No more truer words have been said.
That's how I look at this too. Like it would be rad for the ghost to show up and stuff like that, and maybe it'll happen. But I always look at it like, does that rob us the Ahsoka series of a moment where it's just it's a give me win with for that show and fans? And if that's the case, I don't think they like do any of that. I think they save it for that show. Otherwise, they make their next show less special than, and I don't think that's why I'm kind of like, I don't know if anything's gonna. I'm not expecting anything to happen. I'm expecting next episode to straight up be Mando's versus Gideon. Like that's where my expectations are at, because almost everything it comes off. If Luke shows up, there's your Band-Aid again. So I don't know if they win for doing it twice. And then if anybody else shows up, it's like it's going to be in the Ahsoka series. So I don't know what they do.
$5 super chat from Slim Shady. The Slim Shady. Bo-Katan is the spy. She tricks everyone. She had her own castle bomb to get Din and Grogu on her side.
So Slim he Shady says it was an inside job.
The long con.
Well, I mean, no, I was going to say
David Lindelof really.
You can't melt the steel beams of that castle like that. That's not how it happens.
Oh my god.
Okay, but in fairness to this theory, just to defend it, just for a minute.
Yeah.
It makes more if this is the case that Bo had her own castle blown up. It makes more sense now that she narrated everything that happened in that scene. She was like, "Oh no, there it goes."
And
she didn't seem to care that much.
That's why she was kicking it at the beginning of the season, just chilling with her feet up.
I'll tell you,
I got this whole thing planned.
It would be the biggest surprise ever, because they're just not been that deep, right? Like normally with Star Wars, you can just go surface level all the way through. And as Meg so brilliantly said earlier, sometimes the Pikes are just the bad guys.
Well, I think we got to slow down. Comment. I think Jason's right about not them wanting to spoil stuff. Like we got season 3 of the Bad Batch. The Pershing thing. They're going to tell us something about cloning, and they're going to continue us with the ethical thing, looking at why should they or should they not do cloning. Pershing was like almost one of those people. That's why they called it the Mandor episode, right? Because Pershing was like, should I defect? Should I not? I like my science job, but I also shouldn't. And like that part of the cloning thing, we still want to know what's going to happen with that ethical choice within Star Wars, maybe.
Sure.
I like the Mandor crossover. There should be this thing in the last episode where it looks like our heroes are about to die, and they have everyone trapped in a room, and then Gideon goes, "There's only one way out," and then the armor goes, "Ha! I saw that show." I feel like if I wrote
the
Star
dark
Wars
saber,
film,
she sits down at the table and has a big bowl of cereal.
Oh, Megan.
To celebrate.
Exactly.
How does Gideon know that Bo had the dark saber? That to me is the biggest evidence there is an insider, because the only thing he knows is he's got Din captured right there. Right, they've got him held down. He can maybe see that Din doesn't have it. Maybe he's a really observant dude. It's like, my boy don't have it. Or so who's that leave? I think Bo has it. Maybe he's deducing it. Could he see that she had the darksaber through that window that they were looking through? I don't think so. So how does he know that she has the darksaber?
I'll tell you why. Because if you rewatch the finale of season 2, I think Moff Gideon was just guessing, based on the fact that he knows how desperate Bo is. In his mind, these two have spent enough time together. He's deducing at some stage he would have given it to Bo. If there's no spy. If there is, to me it's the armorer or ex-Woves.
Very good. Very good. Yeah. Hey, another reminder. You can join us in the discussion if you're one of the YouTube members and you support us that way. The link is on YouTube under the community tab for members only. You can find it there. You can also find it in Patreon. We have it posted for our Patreon supporters and also in Discord within the members channel. So if you'd like to come in and tell us your 2 cents, you can do that in any one of those ways.
And I dropped a reminder about the $1 Patreon question.
That's right.
If you want to be as subversive as me.
We've had some fantastic super chats, amazing super chats this stream. I can't thank you guys enough for that. But also for just $1 a month, you can be one of our Patreon supporters. And in Patreon, we have a questions or topics that you can submit, and I will prioritize those if they are appropriate. I have to put that in.
Cheeks.
Yes, you have to beware dark cheeks. Yeah.
Since Gideon lived on Navarro, could they have seen her with the darksaber on Navarro?
Oh.
And then somebody just told him. Somebody else who's just like has because maybe he still has people there.
Yeah,
and maybe he ends up hearing it that way. He does act like he's surprised when he's talking to his spy, but he may just be withholding information that he already knows from her to see what she says and stuff like that. So you know what I mean?
Exactly, Jason. I didn't take his interaction with Elia Kane to be like he didn't know that stuff. He's just a clever villain.
Yeah.
He can't be too overt about things. And the person on Navarro who works for him is the armorer.
Fair enough.
I like the full circle there. There's 2 questions. First one here is the Sabersmith. Will Din die? I think not. I think not. What do you guys think?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah.
No way.
Of course he's going to die because the contract negotiations failed and Last of Us took off. And
no, he just never takes his helmet off again.
That's
for
right.
years. That's it.
He's a Mouseketeer robot underneath.
You know.
The other one, Jason. There's some confusion, and I'm still confused because I rewatched it yesterday, and I was thinking you had mentioned how Moff Gideon is cloning himself. And he's talking about the great thing about these new Dark Troopers that he is building are that he is in it, like the armor. You like my new armor? That's nice armor, isn't it? Oh, you guys like it. It's great. You know what the best thing is? I'm in it. Now, I took that to quite literally. Yeah. There you go. I'm in it. That's the greatest thing about it. I'm in it. He's talking about this armor and himself. You think it's all these dudes that are flying around? These are a bunch of Moff Gideons flying around there.
Somebody was saying that in the translations, it says that they're clones of him. That's what it says in the translations.
What?
Like somebody was saying, like yeah, and so like the way it's written is just like, what are you saying right now, man? What are you talking about, Favreau? Be specific. And but supposedly in some of the translations, like they're saying it says clones. I can't speak that language, so I can't verify it, but that's what people were saying on Reddit.
So I watched really, really close. And those bat tubes that he walks past, they look like muscular humans. They don't look like Snoke prototypes or anything like. They don't look like Proto Snokes. They don't look like. They just look like really beefy, like militarized, military kind of strong.
And
dudes.
since we know they're not working out in the test tube, it means that you could program that, right? So therefore, it could be a jacked Giancarlo at the end, but who knows?
What if
I find it
Cass is
frustrating.
working for Gideon? Sam's tossing Meg a softball right there.
I don't think the armorers are at cost anymore, just because Emily Swallow doesn't know, and if anything, she's just a new character. I find these kind of armor theories quite funny. It's similar to like when people were saying Shin is Omega. They just see blonde female and then they're like, that's the same character. I don't want to say who said it, but I thought it was ridiculous.
Isn't she like Eastern European? It's like
she's Ukrainian descent and Omega's Maori. So
yeah,
there's a very clear.
You know what?
there.
I think Baymax has said the thing that's obvious that we've just all been overlooking. It's clearly she's a Pike.
I saw the neck. A little.
I mean, how did we miss it? It's so obvious. Sometimes the bad guys are just the Pikes. Duh. Didn't we learn anything?
It's me. I'm the problem. It's me.
Nice. Nice Taylor Swift reference there. That's
Pikes
good.
on bikes.
Okay. Have we had enough fun? Have we had enough? I've had a great time. I know.
Same.
This is great. Meg, thanks so much for joining us again today. You didn't have to. It was so nice of you to take your time. Appreciate it. And Jason, the wet blanket ward.
Wet blanket. I'm going to Taco Bell. I'm getting me hungry.
What's on the show today, Jason? Sorry, Santa.
Taco Bell?
You mean Rob's getting Jack in the Box?
Yeah, Rob. Yeah, Rob. Rob's wrong.
Rob's wrong.
Wait. For the record, Meg in Discord specifically wrote, so Rob is right again. I saw her write those words. And, you know, it's painful.
Meg's wrong.
$5 super chat from Everett. Thank you again for the super chat. Could Cyclops from episode 2 be taking Mandalorian DNA for Gideon? Gideon Helm has the horns. He's Mandalorian. Gideon, it definitely has the horns. Right. So does the armorer. There's another piece of evidence in Meg's cake, right? Like she's got this evidence cake, and that's one of the pieces in there for sure. It's a big old slice.
Man,
of cake
I want a piece of that cake.
Yeah. It's delicious cake, and I like it.
The horn don't
so
fit.
moist.
You must quit. I say.
But he definitely has that. The Cyclops characters, I don't know that they're that bright. But you think they could be like working for Gideon?
Wait,
You know,
who are the Cyclops characters?
The ones that Grogu dispatched coming out of the cave.
Oh, those
Right.
weirdos. Yeah, I think they're barbarians. I just think they're savages.
Yeah. I think so too.
Yeah.
Torque, baby, torque.
That's good. Is today a Taco Bell day? Are we all going to have to go make a run for the border?
Yep.
Mike's like, oh, that ain't.
I like the 0-calorie Baja Blast.
That's good. Well, Jason, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it.
I'm like Nord Mafia. I go straight for the original Mountain Dew.
Are you doing a show with Rob today?
I planned on it, but my daughter, I don't think is going to let me. She's on spring break, and she just came in like 3 times. Like, hey, can we go do something now? So I'm not sure if I'm going to be doing.
If I had a choice between hanging out with Penny or hanging out with Rob, and I were you,
yeah. But Rob is like my daughter. That's the other side of it, you know. So it's kind of, you know. But yeah, I guess I'll pick my real one.
I hope he's
my real one today.
I hope Rob heard that.
If you take a day off today, you bring more energy and mystery to Avatar Friday tomorrow.
Oh, Avatar Friday.
Oh, yeah. Was he referring to the one-eyed robot? Well, there was the little one-eyed robot, but they weren't the Cyclopsy guys. And that dude is dead. The mech spider Shelob. Yeah, that was a different thing. Jedi Mike, always thank you so much for giving me your time. It's great to have you here.
Thanks for
and
having
for
us, man.
sending us some nice information from time to time. It's fantastic. We get.
I am terrible with the hat tip. I think it was MK Matt, but we'll see. I'll
Slim
try to
Shady.
get more credit in the Discord.
Another $5 super chat from Slim Shady. If it's not Bo, it's a handful of Night Owls or the Skinny Pete Bargmandos, or both, plus Bo. Thoughts? Hey, I thought the one was that somebody put in the chat earlier. Oh, we lost Meg. That's okay.
Bye, Meg.
Meg's
like, I'm done.
Well, yes, he already said bye. I'm out. No, we had one before. What was her Mercedes? What's her character?
The Sasha Banks character.
Sasha Banks. Yeah. Sasha
Whatever.
Banks. Sasha Banks. That's it. Sasha Banks could be a spy. She's been kind of just sitting in the back, kind of quietly watching.
She's always seemed a little shady and angry.
Yeah, Casca Reeves. Reeves, that's it. Casca Reeves could absolutely be an informant. Just quietly.
I mean, they made it blatantly obvious they're mercs, right? They'll work for anybody.
Yeah, and I still think if any of them are secretly giving Moff Gideon information, I think most likely none of them are. Most likely none of them. But if I were to lean into anything, it would be that Moff Gideon is actually puppeteering both of them and feeding them all information about each other separately to keep a division, and that he's getting information and sending information, misinformation to each group. Like, oh, you can't go back to Mandalore; it's poisoned. Oh, you can't do this; they hate you, or this or that or whatever. He's constantly just sowing the seeds of discontent to keep them from coming together. And when they come together, he's like, wait, I've been working this for way too long to have them talking to one another. That ain't happening. So
yeah.
Well, last thing, if you're not doing the show, I don't know, like, because now you see things in a different order, right? As you've been collecting stuff over the season, you think it's definitely like one or two settings is basically what we're going to get. That's what, like, you think small potatoes, not big scene. Again, is the last thing going.
I would love to see a great big epic finale where Luke and Ahsoka come in to battle the Praetorians, and we get the Ghost crew coming in and joining the fight.
Well, because earlier on in the season, we thought one episode was early, and then it was later in the chronology.
Yeah, we get the X-wings
Jason
coming
gets
in
it differently from the set.
We get all the things, right? I really was. The Mike Porter dad joke. Mike Porter did a guest appearance earlier.
Request. I think Mike Porter needs to do the dad joke on the show when he comes on the show. Come on.
You know what? We should have done that. When he was on the show, say, okay, Mike Porter, give us the dad joke.
Give us the joke.
Yeah. Did you know that it's spring cleaning time in Star Wars? Well, yes. If it's not necessary, it'll be thrown out.
Yeah.
That's a good one. Guy. Good job, Mike Porter.
Mike Porter guy.
It's not needed. You're throwing it out.
This guy, that guy beat me.
Hey,
this guy's beating
they
me.
don't have this on the EBN network, people.
I just hope it's an hour-long episode. I hope that it is as well. I hope it is. And
yeah, me too.
The Battle of Five Armies. Look, Will Morgan, I love it, but I can't afford the harassment from Rob anymore if I bring up Five Armies and how that would be so awesome and epic and they should do it, because then Rob will do nothing but make fun of me.
Maybe it's the Seven Nation Army from the White Star. It could be anything.
I'm 100% behind seeing all of that. That would be great.
If Rob makes fun of you, you've hit the jackpot.
I know.
How you know you're a real good person.
I absolutely love.
That's what I tell myself. I just keep telling myself he's making fun of me because he likes me.
He loves me. That's how I look at it. Every time he does an imitation of me, I know it's an expression of love. That's how I look at it. Hey, look who's here. All right. You guys have a great day. Thanks for joining me once again. And you guys, thanks for hanging out with us. Thank you for all the super chats. You guys have been awesome today. And I can't thank you enough. And I hope you have a wonderful day, a tremendous day. And until next time, my friends, may the force be with you always. And ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.